You're listening to the Elevated News Podcast with two dope dudes. Here are your hosts, Dave and Aaron. Welcome to the Elevated News Podcast with two dope dudes. We're a podcast focused on discussing local and national cannabis news and culture. I'm Aaron.
I'm Dave.
I'm Mr. CBD.
That's right.
That is Mr. CBD in the house. First time guest. Let's go.
How you doing, man?
Really well, actually, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another trip around the sun. I had a wonderful weekend.
Good. It is your birthday weekend.
Yes, it was.
I did just mention before we started, and I think it's actually true. You look younger now. You look younger now than you did the last time I see you. You look great, bud.
Thank you very much. I attest it all to cannabis and staying active. So I call it our 420 fitness program, which we're unrolling this year.
Sweet.
That's friggin' awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because recovery is important for, you know what I mean? And people forget that, you know, what cannabis can do for recovery.
110%.
And so I'm trying to I want to be the example, and also the big part of it is just being my own best friend.
Yeah.
I've been so pumped to sit down and talk with you, especially on here. It's going to be really cool, but just in general about CBD as a whole. I love CBD, and I think that it's probably one of the better unspoken heroes of cannabis when it comes to the medicinal properties. So to have Mr. CBD,
Mr. CBD himself.
Throughout the time we'll ask some questions, and I can't wait to go on this journey of exploring what you understand and what you know, what your product line is. You haven't told me much about them, but I've got a bunch of your stuff sitting in front of me, and I can't wait to look through that. It is an absolute honor to have you here, pal. Thanks for being here.
I am blown away. You guys are my friends. You know, support dope people is what it's all about. I'm very thankful to be here and to be their first guest. I'm honored. I'm the one that's honored.
Yeah, for sure. I
Very
mean,
cool.
You weren't the first person we asked, but no, but no. I mean that jokingly. You weren't the first person we sent the thing to, but you did respond right away. You were like the second person I sent it to.
I was so excited when I saw the request, the invite. I'm like, I'm doing this right away. Let's go.
You know, you've been a friend of the show for quite a while, and we're at a spot now where we can actually have people on that we want to talk to that we think are interesting. And that kind of mesh with what we do. And like, you were at the top of the list for sure. And you've been a longtime supporter of the show, offering our friends and family who listen, 10% off, and which we appreciate that. And because you have some really awesome products. And I thought I was a guy who knew who had a guy for everybody until I met you. I thought I was the guy. Yeah. But you're the guy.
You are the guy.
Mark, the guy.
My guy here is the guy if you need anything, but he brings one of the to me, it's one of the coolest products representing. I mean, to me, cannabis is great. I talk about cannabis all together.
Yep.
Once I got into cannabis and started to see it personally through the medical side of things while I was doing my work journey and whatever through the industry, seeing the medicine come to life and seeing the people have results was like, that was when it changed me. That's when I was like, holy shit. But it wasn't because and don't get me wrong, THC definitely has its place in plenty of things, and it's very effective in a lot of the health aspects of things too. But when we talk about, I mean, golly, epilepsy and cancer and, grafting patients and things of that nature, CBD rocks the fucking house. So again, I'm just so pumped to talk about what we got here today. So thank you, my guy.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. This is exciting.
Yeah. Do we need to do any more plugs before I start asking too many questions?
Let's get part of the show done. Let's get plugs. We like to do plugs right up front. Just because people
helps people find us.
Yeah, so you can find us, the Elevated News Podcast with two dope dudes, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other favorite streaming podcast apps. Google Podcasts is going away, but I mean, they're just changing over to YouTube. You can still find us there anyway. Obviously, the At Two Dope Dudes YouTube channel. Please give us a like and leave a review. This helps us reach more people. And you can find us on supportdopepeople.com, along with links to our other pods and free stickers. There are also T-shirts at a much, much reduced price. Now they're, I think, like cheapest ones are like $22. And then I also have dab mats for sale. Actually, I don't have a. It's over there, but I have cool dab mats. They're really cheap. They're cork. They're really nice. Set your glass things on top of them and support dope people.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Also, if you haven't seen, check out support_dope_people on Instagram. We're doing a Fox Valley Growers Club here at Lil Bean in DeKalb. It's just a cultivation meetup, talk genetics, show off your stuff, maybe swap seeds with somebody, do something cool, learn something, learn to grow. If you've never grown, if you want to grow, if you are a fantastic grower, come hang out. Yeah, it'll be super fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I loved when you just told me about that. I was pretty pumped to hear about it. Bringing all the communities together. The growing one, we need y'all to keep growing and keep growing good, man. We're seeing some people do some really cool shit nowadays, especially from like, do you remember? Because this has all been a transition. We've all gone through from back when it was sticks and stems, packed in some tight shit, whatever, to where we're at now. There were plenty of really bad home growers throughout the time, and I watch a lot of my friends come to me, and it's not bad. I'm none against, but they had like the ugly baby syndrome. They were like, "Look what I did! It's mine! I did it!" And they were very happy about it and proud. But it wasn't.
If you grow mids,
and that hey,
it's okay. I've grown plenty of crap in mids. Just grow. You don't always have to grow good. Charlie said this to me the other day. It doesn't have to be good.
Everything is learning.
Just grow.
Yeah. But now I'm seeing some unbelievable stuff come out of friends' stuff. I'm like, holy cow, you guys are great. Keep doing it because I don't grow, and I need all of you to keep doing what you're doing so that I can smoke something.
I'm just
thank you.
I'm just doing the meetup because there seems to be a need in the community, and so if not for me, who else? So I'm just trying to fulfill a need in the community, much like the podcast stuff that we do. You know what I mean? And then there's that. Email us at twodopedudespodcast@gmail.com for all your questions or things you'd like us to talk about. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Dave, and we're the Two Dope Dudes. We're here to tell you about the Crop Culture Box, where you get a curated selection of quality grow items and seeds to help you plant with a purpose.
Use our code TwoDopeDudes for $10 off any box, $100 or more for new customers. Get the Goat Holiday Box. And check out their selection of seeds too.
That's cropculture.net. Use the code 2DopeDudes.
Wow.
Hey, check it out on the table right now.
Sitting here with us today.
And sitting here with us right
check
now.
out MrCBDChicago.com.
That's right.
Use the code 2DopeDudes at checkout for 10% off all of these great products that you're going to learn so much more about in a minute. And this is just a small sample size of all the awesome stuff that's in there. Go check it out. Go explore.
He's the Costco of cannabis. He's the Home Depot of hemp.
Home Depot of dope.
Oh, Home Depot of dope. I think Home Depot of hemp.
I do like
that. Is kind of fun.
I think
they're both good. I like yours though.
Yeah.
That is good, especially after what we're about to talk about.
Costco of cannabis.
Yes.
Yeah. Home Depot of hemp.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one?
Walmart of weed.
Walmart of weed. See, that's it.
Fire.
It's got to
You're
be.
right.
It's got to be that.
It's got to be hemp. You're 100% correct.
Yeah. So
and that actually leads into the plant on the table.
Yeah, and check out MrCBDChicago.com, and then also our friends over at The Green Grow, thegreengrow.com. We were just talking about using some Green Grow with some added drainage for some succulents and cacti. With somebody. That was really cool. Yeah, thegreengrow.com. Use the code 2DopeDudes for 10% off your order. Also check out their home and garden line. It's great stuff for your vegetable garden, and we love it.
Oh yeah, well you can do that too.
Yeah.
Hey, check me out on Thursday nights,
if you don't mind.
Peace, love, and cope. If you don't mind, if you're not doing anything on Thursday nights, come out, hang out in a community. But it is ultimately just to be around me. If you need anything from me directly, it is a line to me directly. You will see me live Thursday nights, 8
You can
p.m.
interact with them
Peace, Love,
IRL.
and Go. I would
Sometimes
love to be available more for everybody all the time, but
I wish his girlfriend would
um,
come and talk shit in the stream with us.
yeah, maybe.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, maybe someday. Mark,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
please.
So
You were
please,
talking about this plant
Mark,
in the middle of
what do
the
you have?
table.
What do you want to plug?
Oh,
Yeah, what do you want to plug?
yeah.
I mean, just MrCBDChicago.com, and that we
Yeah.
have a membership program for
This would be-
people, kind of the whole Costco
Yep.
of cannabis. It's
$4.20 club.
$4.20 a month. It gets you up to 30% off of all your purchases
Mhm.
and free shipping. And so, and of course, we
Wow, that's
always
huge.
load everybody up with education. As we learn, you learn.
Yeah.
And our goal is to help people find their Mary Jane.
Yep.
Because not everybody is the same.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah,
You
check
are
it out.
Fucking awesome.
I
Fucking
tell
cut
people
me ever saying Mr. CBD
Yeah.
Chicago and plug that thing. That
Yeah,
was
no kidding.
awesome.
No kidding. Well, that's why we got good audio.
Sheesh. All right,
That's
man.
awesome.
Welcome to this thing.
Yeah, so welcome to
No,
this
thank
thing.
you. I'm very honored to be here.
Can
Place
you,
looks great.
Yes, I know you talked. Yeah, well, this guy painted it.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in it, so that's why it looks great. You know what I mean? But
I make it very easy for him to show up and just do something.
There we go.
yeah. You did tell me something about this plant. You alluded to it. Tell me about this plant. I love plants, and I love that this thing is happening right now. Can you? Because I've talked about it a lot, like bonsaiing some cannabis before, and I don't know enough about cannabis, and I also am not like, I'd rather put the thing in a windowsill possibly and let it go and do its thing naturally. And tell me about what this is, please.
Well, first off, this was handpicked by me. As now we have we're also the distributor for Bonsai Bakery, and they're going to be you can now get these on MrCBDChicago.com, which is great.
Fantastic.
That is
So,
awesome.
decorative hemp is the new wave, and we are now a part of it. As you know, I like being a part of all new things and
Yeah.
things that we've talked about this for a minute. So when I've handpicked this, I thought to myself, two dope dudes. I love the name of this
I
plant,
love
by
it.
the way.
That's awesome.
That's
Thank you
fantastic.
so much.
And it does come with a QR code, so you can actually, look it up, and it'll tell you how to care for it.
Yeah.
No
And it gives you
way.
like the twine that goes along that little
Mhm.
thing that comes with a crystal, and so you can actually maneuver the plant as you see fit as time goes on. The stick is also a cheat stick, so you can make sure that it's also hydrated.
Wow.
And these
Yeah.
retail at about $50 to $60.
Okay.
And it's been a showstopper. We have a lot
I
of
love 'em.
showstoppers lately. I'm very blessed with that.
Yeah.
And when we partnered up with Bonsai Bakery, and it was just I went right to the table. I met them at the farmers market.
Yep.
And I've kind of seen them around.
Same.
And I was like, I just stopped Josh. I'm like, listen, I need this. We're working together. Take my money. He's like, what? And I bought a plant on the spot, and I put it on my table. And he goes, I'm down. I'm like, I want to be your distributor. We want to work together. And we have more things that we're going to do along as time goes on. But the beautiful part about this is that it's a lesser known part of
Right.
cannabis, which is ruderalis.
Yeah.
And so it's autoflower is what most people are
Right.
familiar with. And so it takes less care,
Right.
Yeah.
less lighting, less everything.
Yeah.
The great thing about
Ruderalis?
autoflowers is that you can run your lights for 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're running autoflowers, you probably should be running 20 to 22 hours a day.
Do you know where the ruderalis plant comes from?
Siberia.
Yeah, it's a Russian thing.
Yeah, I'm
It's
big on
I
that
thought
stuff.
it
I
came
think I
from-
might
I
actually
thought it
be
was from-
originally from there.
It's an up. So like, there's multiple reasons. It makes perfect sense though, right? Like, it's way northern. There's way more light that
Yep.
they have regularly. It is a colder area, so the plant has to be more resilient to. Or there's also times where it has far less light than what we do, so it's very resilient as a plant.
Yeah.
And ruderalis is very cool. I'm pumped that you are familiar with it. I'm pumped that you've
I mean,
brought us this.
It's
I'm
important we
kinda-
live in the Midwest. More resiliency on the plants that we can figure out and start to splice this and put it into plants that can be more resilient.
Absolutely.
And I want winter weed.
Yeah.
Wow. I like that. Yeah.
And then don't get me started on desert dope.
Desert dope, winter weed. Your alliteration's off the charts, my friend.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm a fan. I'm an alliteration fan, actually.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. So can you tell me, because and so everybody who doesn't know, when did Mr. CBD start? Where do you come from? Why are you Mr. CBD?
Wow, that's a big question. I'm gonna do my best to condense that
Can
for
you?
us.
Yeah. As a
It really did start with a couple things. One, I was having poor health.
Hmm.
So I was dealing with diverticulitis. I was massively overweight. I was pushing close to 300 pounds. And they pumped me on Klonopin, and it made me feel like a zombie. And I had already, I came from the legacy side of things. So I knew obviously I was a THC utilizer since I was 19.
Right.
And I was looking for CBD and I couldn't get it. And it was like, come on, like, who can get it for me? I need it. I think it's going to help me. And something happened. I was in on Bodie Road in Barrington, and I went to a gas station and I saw this brand, and there were hemp gummies, and I like stopped. Oh, this is in 2017, and I was like, "What is that?" I think he thought I was a cop, and I'm like, "No, no, no, no." I'm like, "I need to know what that." He's like, "I can't sell this until December." He was saying he just had
Right.
it in the back, and I'm like, "I'll pay double. Give me that. I want to know what this is.
Right.
What do you have here, and how is this happening? How is this gummy at a gas station?" So then he let me have it once he realized that what I was innocent about. I just want one little pack, and I came back like Doc Brown to my house to my friends, and I was like, "Marty, this is the future." You know what I mean? And and everyone thought I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, CBD? What do you fucking mean?" You know what I mean? I'm like, "No." I'm like, "This is the future, and we're gonna do this."
Yeah.
And I had moved, and we like a tradition when I had moved is I do a macro dose of fungus. I'm a fan, so
Okay.
I think when you can
Yeah.
do that with the right people, and then I came up with the name Mr. CBD through
So
that macro
do you
dose.
do that when
That's
you're like
awesome.
actually moving every time you actually
No,
like move? Because
uh,
like that seems like a wild experience to have to move all your furniture out of your house while like on a half a heroic dose, just like ego deathing the whole time.
no, no, no. Meaning like after the
Oh,
move,
okay.
after we're
I
already
got you.
in. Sorry, I
Okay.
should have been more
Sorry.
clarifying.
I
But
just
yeah, I had people
just
over,
wondering.
and it was one of those things. It was an epiphany, and one of the first businesses I ever had, actually the first business I ever had was called Mr. Blue Jeans, and I used to throw parties when I was 17 years old. So it was an ode to my first businesses. I meant to be this my last endeavor, as it was going to
That's
be my
awesome.
ongoing endeavor forever. And I was like, yeah, I started this way. It's how I'm going to begin. I didn't sell blue jeans, by the way. It was just parties. It
Yeah.
was a pimp that, you know, dubbed us Mr. Blue Jeans,
Like
which was
a
kind of cool.
pimp named slick
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
It was pretty
Okay.
cool.
That's
I
So
got
yeah,
you.
but it was an ode to that. And then the logo was kind of like I wanted to be, the jump man of
Yeah.
cannabis.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be the wink wink,
Yeah.
the you know and I know.
yeah.
And then the Trust Your Dopeness program was formed. That's for the individual.
Yeah.
And then I started supporting dope people
That's right.
through that. But you have to trust your own dopeness.
That's right.
And so I see that first in people. You got to be like you do. Both of you guys are big on that. You guys understand your world and you guys are big in what you do. And I love everything that you guys do. I love how you portray cannabis and how you guys are all in on it. Makes me
Thank you,
happy.
brother. Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
means a lot, honestly.
It really does.
Coming from you again, because since the day that I met you, I knew, I was like, man, there's something special about the
Hmm.
way this guy is even talking about cannabis, right? Like the passion you show um, for the plant it's refreshing to me because I care as deeply, and it comes across in just your presence, just how you talk about it,
Hmm.
how much you actually care, and I think when you were saying it comes back to a place where like you were helped physically yourself, and the moment that aha comes across, we're like, wait a minute, what the hell is this thing, and why is it, and you know what? I'll be the guinea pig if that's what you want to call me,
Hmm.
because whatever, it's such a stereotype to be something else, to use cannabis, right? But once you call it a medicine and you go, wait a minute, that actually does physically help me and it does make me feel better. You're taking it to a whole new level. And once you find a personal thing with that, it becomes so connecting. It's so easy. Make me the guinea pig then. take me on this journey, whatever the hell it is. And I've been on a journey with this stuff. I've reached into different depths of it, and I've tried to explore not just the entourage effect, which is a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. I think that's just saying there's so much going on in the plant. How do we describe it as one thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But CBD comes across in a whole new way. And when we find something that's in a gas station that changes our whole life, kind of, holy shit, you know? And so I think what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing is super awesome as well. And I respect the efforts that you actually put forth to bring the community together, to try to bring a normalization and an understanding for the whole plant. In the same way, I think there's this tug of war naturally between, do we call it recreational or medical or hemp or marijuana or weed, or what do we call it, right? Who gives a fuck when it works for you? And when you have the quality product that's doing the shit for you, who gives a shit, right?
I agree. You know what though, and I to piggyback off of that, I've done my best to simplify it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so, like,
it
when
is simple though.
that's the problem, is that people like a lot of our so there's two different types of people prior to me. Like when I first started, how I was learning out there, there was
Mhm.
actually several. So you got people who know nothing about it, and I get that, and they're just uneducated about the plant, or it's been completely demonized that that's all they know. Then you got the folks who were cannabis connoisseurs and self-proclaimed connoisseurs, and I thought I was one of them at one point.
Right.
And so, like, I was super humbled when I started Mr. CBD. I realized there was a whole nother realm. From everything that was going on at the university, across the seas with the University of Israel, Jack Herrera, what he did with hemp, and how these things have been forgotten about a little bit. And I'm like, I feel like they
Right.
passed away, and their idealisms kind of passed away with them. So we had the foundation for hemp and cannabis from people who are much smarter than us.
Yeah.
And we just kind of, I didn't notice anyone taking the baton, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, someone's got to do something. Let me go do something.
It's like so like out of need, basically.
And at first it was. Now and then it turned into the passion thing. Like, when we were talking about the beginning stages, I had a husky that was with me, which you
Mhm.
guys are all familiar with,
Smoky.
Smokey, and he was also a part of the journey because
Yeah.
I wanted my best friend to live forever, and he
Right.
almost did. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
No, I feel you.
19 years old, and
Yeah.
he was
That's awesome.
our first product that we actually ever manufactured. I had no interest in manufacturing in the beginning. It was
Right.
strictly distribution, and I saw a need for a healthy, dog product, and I wanted to do something for my dogs. I had 4 Huskies at the time, so it
Uh-huh.
was Mr. CBD and the Wolf Pack. That's how it all began,
Right.
and that's kind of an ode to Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, in
Yeah.
case you didn't know. So that was kind of where that came from in my mind.
That's awesome.
You know what I
So
mean?
That's
so your first encounter was using CBD to help yourself,
Hmm.
and you saw the benefits of that, and then you wanted to help your friends,
Yep.
your dogs,
Yep.
which I completely understand.
And each one of them was dealing with different ailments.
Right.
Marley had cancer. Fozzie was dealing with weekly seizures.
Yeah.
Gizmo came from an abused situation where she was afraid of everything. And then Smokey, he was just he was aged.
So
Yeah.
did you? How long had you been distributing CBD and like hemp products before you started actually manufacturing?
It wasn't long.
It wasn't long.
No, I started that first as soon as that. Like, so the day that hemp became federally legal, December 18th, 2018, was the day I started Mr. CBD
Gotcha.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And then
So
I
you've
might
been
have been first
planning.
in line.
You've been
I was.
planning.
Oh yeah, November 15th is when I bought the domain name.
Okay.
I remember everything like it was yesterday because I was like so convinced that this was the way.
Yeah.
And I had to prove to myself too, like
Yeah.
that I was right. Like I'm like, am I crazy? This is right? Like we're doing this.
So how did you find the contacts to start like actually manufacturing your own products? Like,
Oh,
did you
that-
just use like previous contacts? I know you've done a lot of other things, like, or did you just have this like need to like figure out who it was?
It was a need. In the beginning, it was rough sailing,
Right.
super rough sailing. Like one of my first COAs was given to me in pencil,
Okay.
and COA,
Wow.
by the way,
Wow.
stands for Certificate of Analysis. In
Yeah.
case
Yeah.
those who don't know.
And they're available. Mark
Yes.
sent them all to me. I have most of them,
Yeah, I
except
mean,
for the proprietary ones.
right, right. But interestingly enough, you can when you go to the site, we make
Yeah,
sure
exactly.
we're a part of the Square Cannabis program,
Yeah,
and so they make sure that we're up to date on everything. I'm kind of like the Boy Scout of all that
yeah,
stuff, making sure that people have their stuff ready to go. Yes, I do want that.
yeah. I was trying to pass that to Dave, so he'd pass it to Mark.
Thank you. What are we
It's
working with here?
live resin.
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I want people to understand because like I know part of your story, but I think it's compelling for other people to understand your journey to where you got to where you are, because I think that brings a lot more understanding of who you are and why you do what you do. You know what I mean?
Thank you. And I just wanted it to be different.
Yeah.
We were in grocery stores in the beginning.
Yeah.
We opened during essentially like we had a store in Vernon Hills,
Right.
and then we had to shut it down from the pandemic.
Okay.
And so then we went virtual. So I kind of was more of like we turned into more of like an Amazon-esque
Yeah.
type business. I was doing everything from my home. That's what they told us to do.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a good time for me because we were also deemed an essential.
Yeah.
And so I was able to drive around and make
Sweet.
home deliveries back then, gloved up, masked up,
Sure.
going out there and educating the grocery stores. And when I mean educating the grocery stores, we're talking from receiving
Yeah.
to the stock people.
Yeah.
Everyone had to know. I couldn't have someone going around saying, this is weed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just didn't work that way. It had to be, I had to educate people. And the more I started educating people, the more I started like sharpening my tools. I'm like,
Sure.
I'm learning more. I better keep learning. And the more I kept learning, I'm like, it's never really ending. I'm
Right.
still learning.
Yeah.
You're always learning.
Yeah, I think the evolution of this plant hasn't stopped yet. I mean, there's plenty that we don't even fully understand how it intertwines and how it plays with us to begin
Well,
with.
actually, we know more than we realize, especially with the Information Act, which I definitely want to talk about today. We're gonna because they have what allowed me to even get accredited. Shout out to Liz for that journey, and I want to shout out really quick, if you guys don't mind, my team
Yeah.
because they're real
Please.
important to me. First off, start off with mom and pops.
Yeah.
They're without them, I wouldn't even be here.
Right.
Yeah.
My mom just went through some stuff recently, so I'm happy she's doing really well.
Yeah, so glad.
Yeah.
And they've been massive supporters. Like you guys know, they're at
Yeah.
all the events. They always come
Yeah.
out and support everything I do, which is amazing.
It's huge.
So for my mom not feeling well and not seeing her
Yeah.
all the time at all the things I've been doing has been,
Yeah.
it's been treading thin ice for me lately. It's been, not people don't realize like the tough stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
Yep.
And
Well,
then
everybody goes through their own things, man.
that's
and
right.
you
That's why I
have
always
to-
tell people to be
yeah,
kind, right? Like we talk
Try to
about.
be.
Try to be kind because you don't know what people are going through.
Right.
Yeah.
And a shout out to the behind the house, the OG Julie Harshbarger. She's the one who designs all my logos.
Nice.
Nice.
Has been with me since day one.
Yeah.
Her journey was passion through recovery with sports and for her animals and my animals. So she's dealt with having to deal with cancer with her animals and like CBD, helping them prolong their lives a little bit longer. And now we're being more proactive versus reactive with our animals and understanding we don't need to wait. We start now, and they're not. It's either going to need it now or later, but
Right.
let's do it now, and then they're going to live longer. Versus there's two
Yeah.
different like versions of that. But hemp, as I was mentioning earlier, I wanted to talk about it for a second. We were going on the bonsai plant, and then a lot of people don't know about hemp hearts,
Yeah.
which is remarkable to me, still to this day.
Yeah.
So I get around people who are supposed cannabis knowledgeable,
Yeah.
and I get them to the basics, and I say the most, basic part of the plant is superfood, and it's called hemp hearts.
Yeah.
And they look at me like a dog that heard a funny noise,
It's like
Yeah.
buffalo liver.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
And
No,
so-
yeah.
You know?
But I'm happy. The reason why I bring it up is that beginning of my journey, I knew this, but like no one wanted to hear it.
It's still there's still it's weird because, and I've run into this, and I think maybe you'll know it too. There's so many people who need it who don't know they need it. All the people that are hearing us speak a lot of times are people who might need it but don't give a shit about it. And it's not that it that's fine. You don't need to because you're in fine health for the moment. But when your shit goes awry,
Right.
because all of us have a breakdown point, a physical breaking, and hopefully all of us live long, happy, healthy, non-degenerative,
I thought
non-complicated existences, right? I would love to rather see all of our physical existences go very smoothly. But we all know that that's not true. And when it comes to a point when things start to break, um, there's this really nice glue that brings everything back together and makes it not so broken long term, or like you said, the recovery time.
Mm-hmm.
We know that this plant has way more than just the fuck it all aspects, which even two are medical in their own right. But to take all of that aside and to go at the heart of this thing, at the
No
break
pun
down
intended.
everything correctly, there is literally nutrients that is as good. It's arguably the best source of plant protein available.
Mhm.
That I, the fact that we don't use it in a far bigger platform, the fact that it's not regularly animal feed everywhere, the fact that we're not growing more of it altogether, it blows my fucking mind. I understand that there's some industrial thing that goes on out there, and there's so many people who already know how to grow corn, so it's whatever. How, how do we change that? How do we take it from its fatty corns that we're feeding our shit and putting them through hell to live so that we can eat, rather than giving them a sustainable existence that makes them a decent source of energy for both themselves and for us? How do we change that mindset? What's the next steps?
Here we go. Ready? This is my soapbox moment, gentlemen. So I'm going to make sure I use it accordingly, because we're going to use this as a reel. Okay, so we can make change today. So this is what's up. So for me, we have to stop subsidizing corn and wheat and start subsidizing hemp. Mic drop. 1. 2. Faster that we figure out that all these animals have endocannabinoid systems that we used to fulfill through hemp. Okay. So we were eating healthy animals back in the day. Okay. Which then we took hemp out of the food chain. And then guess what happened? All of the animals became off balanced, because what happens when you eat hemp, utilize CBD and microdose THC, it puts you in homeostasis. Therefore, you are in balance. Therefore, if the food you're eating is in balance, therefore you are in balance. We actually were healthier before. We took it out of the food chain, then diverticulitis, Crohn's, IBS, all these things started popping up. So when you asked me to get to the root of the problem, I did, which is why I became an accredited healthcare professional for hemp, CBD, and THC. And now I do talks for healthcare professionals like registered nurses, physical therapists, occupational therapists, social workers, and several other acronyms I can't remember at the moment. But they get to get one credit hour for hearing me talk about this. And what I've done is just hold up the mirror. Okay. The Hippocratic Oath, 500,000 opioid deaths. I am helping people with the Canine for Veterans get people off of opioids and onto something healthier. We no longer need to be the last line of defense. I want to be the first line of defense. And they all have to be held accountable to making that happen. So the healthcare industry needs to be held accountable. Our government needs to be held accountable, because aisles 2 through 28 have things that we cannot digest in the grocery store. If we flip hemp into wheat and corn, I want hemp chips.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't it be that way? Why shouldn't my snacks be healthy?
Yep. I from so when I just a slight, you probably know a little bit, but from my history, when I was like 16, 17, I had this revolution. I was like, wait, my aunt, family best friend, whatever, I call her aunt, but she had this condition, lupus. She was kind of like the center of the attention. Then she kind of left out of the attention of the parties and stuff. And I was like, oh, she's sick. But then she started to come back. What the fuck is that? Oh, there's this really cool thing. I started to look into what the hell, and I'm smoking at the time. And then I went, aha moment. Why'd you move to Colorado? Right? I'm a young kid. I'm not really putting all the pieces together, but I gave my first speech on why we needed to change some of these things, but why there's a better chance that we don't. And the big reason, and you're killing it, cannabis could revolutionize some of the top 5 industries in the world: the health industry, the gas and oil industry, the food industry, the paper industry. We could revolutionize the fuck out of all of this with one thing. But in the same way, it's like, how many jobs do we displace during doing that? Well, 0.
Zero.
Change everybody's base product, like you were just saying, from the trash to a decent input, right? Instead of putting shit in, we put decent stuff in, and then you get a decent result out no matter what. And I'm fully on board with, if you need a plant protein or you need a base plant product, cannabis, hemp, it's the end all be all. And the fact that we don't is, and you can see it with your eyes. If you look through the numbers, if you see whatever, it's because these industries are worth way more than, and it's too progressive, right? Everybody gets very stale in their ways. This is how we do it. It's worked forever. You can't change my ways. It's no. So we're stuck behind something, but it's super fucking cool to have conversations and to see people of your understanding of the thing going through the process of getting accredited, becoming the next level of representative of this thing, where it's not just, like I said, it's who gives a fuck about any of the noise outside of, why isn't this the base level? Why isn't it what we use as different medicines and different healthcare options, including natural sustaining? When you use the most perfect word, you said homeostasis. I used it all the time. Why the fuck aren't we using this thing that we know brings a resolution to both the highs and the lows and brings us back to a comfortable middle? And
Well, it's brain food. So, like, the reason why I brought up the hemp hearts thing again, too, most of our hemp hearts are actually exported from Canada, which makes no sense. And I want to make sure we make this clear, too.
yeah,
We have to hold our public officials accountable, because we can buy from Canada, but they won't buy from us. So let's stop buying from Canada, folks.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So this is American. This is from
Atta
here.
boy.
Yeah.
So we
Let's
need to, if
go.
we have a $33 trillion debt. We actually have the opportunity with hemp, through decorative hemp, through nutritional hemp, and through industrial hemp, to actually potentially look into ways of cutting that down. Does anybody else have like a reasonable, obtainable goal to make that happen? Because that seems insurmountable right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so we got to start chipping away at it somewhere. There's 1 million acres being grown in Colombia right now for industrial hemp, which is going to account for 40% of the world's industrial hemp. Okay. America's great. And what I mean by that is that once we figure things out, we become the best at it, because that's what we want to be.
Yeah.
So I have faith that we will figure
Yeah.
it out, and we will be the best when the time is right.
Yeah.
Right now, instead of becoming divided states, divided counties, everything else like we are currently on hemp, my goal is to do, I said it last year out loud, and now it's happening organically. I said, give me an audience with every governor.
Yeah.
Just once. Give me an audience so we can start talking about these things and hold them accountable to educating them about this part of the foundational hemp, from decorative to nutritional to industrial. We get that lined up. CBD has a leg to stand on. THC will have a leg to stand on. CBD from a therapeutic point of view, THC from a mental point of view. When we talked about fungus earlier, I look at THC and fungus as it gets your neurons going. When they used to say we only use 10% of our brains, you start putting those two puppies together and use them responsibly, you'd be surprised at how the brain can react. That's brain food, folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you abuse it, okay, we got to talk, because CBD can help balance your ass out.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who abuse the plant, and I say it because I did. And now I understand, like, going ring around the rosy with nutritional hemp, therapeutic CBD, and understanding my threshold for THC is different than everybody else's.
Right.
And that we cannot, we're not crowd grouping this,
Yeah, that's not the normalization I think I'm looking for either. I don't
Mhm.
need you to I don't need you to do what I do.
No.
I need you to do what you need to do. And there is a very scientific process that goes behind some of the understandings of this. We know the endocannabinoid system. We know cannabinoids. We know natural occurring cannabinoids in the system. We know andendamine and AG2 or whatever. We know these things, right? So like you said, there's a lot of understanding for it. But it's like there's kind of, to come back, you said it's simple, and it is simple. It's very complex. But once you and I have gone to all, and Aaron, we've come to all of these places of complexities, we've come back to this common place of like, breathe for a minute. You should not get overwhelmed with it. Do the basics, do
Right.
the simples, right? And start at a place, start at a, you don't have to go to the very intoxicating parts of what cannabis does to get any of the effects of what it is capable of. There's plenty of other non-psychoactive ingredients, which, you know, might be a semi-decent segue if you would like to. I don't know where you're at, but tell me about some of the products that are sitting in front of me. Let me know what I should be. And you were talking about the hemp parts here.
Yeah.
All right. This is a 1 pound bag
It's like a kale chip, right?
of hemp parts.
So, not quite.
Don't
What I will
listen to
say
me.
about hemp hearts is that you could eat them raw, you know, and they taste great. By the way, they have a great flavor to them. Some people put them in their oatmeal, their salads.
Yeah.
Some people actually put it in their
Smoothies.
smoothies.
Yeah.
You can actually crush it up, put water in it, and make hemp milk out of it.
Really nice.
We're gonna, and actually, by the way, wink, wink, we're gonna be coming out with hemp milk.
So cool.
So we're
Let's
gonna,
go.
yes,
That's so cool.
yeah. So in case you didn't know, milk does not do a body good, and I'm talking the dairy kind.
Correct.
So hemp milk is going to be the new wave. Almond, soy, sorry, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, you're out.
Coconut's okay.
Hemp is going to be. Coconut won't even hold a candlestick to what
well,
hemp
that's
can do.
exactly
So
right.
hemp milk is going to be the way. We're going to take everything off the shelves. Now we can get dairy back to business if we start feeding our cows hemp.
And
So
bingo.
ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
So we'll go back to that later. But hemp parts are obviously the most basic part of the plant that hasn't been given enough attention, and everybody should be utilizing it. We also have refined hemp seed oil, which I didn't bring with me today, but you can obviously two of the purest forms of the plant are hemp parts and refined hemp seed oil, and both when utilized regularly is superfood. So your brain needs superfood, and then your body will start to perform in a super way. It sounds crazy, but it's that simple. And I get a lot of people currently working with us who are, who are clients that, shop with us that utilize that. Thank you. Quick shout out.
Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you. Quick shout out to Christina and Christian from
Oh,
LFA
Hefe,
CBD,
yeah.
as this was my birthday gift.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Luckily, I
it
had a
is so-
charged up proxy to put in it.
Yeah, it is so sweet.
Yeah.
And it looks perfect in your hand. I am an
You're just going to be a
fan.
concentrate guy now. Shout out to Family Cannabis Crew 420 for supplying us with some fun stuff to put in the
Thank you. It tastes great,
vaporizer.
Doctor.
I cannot wait.
Sweet.
So yeah, with getting back to
Please,
the
I'm
hemp,
sorry.
No, you're good. So a lot of people, like, there's a story out there, and not everybody knows about it, but Tommy Chung had prostate and colon cancer, and he utilized refined hemp seed oil to get back into business.
Yep.
And so there's people who I've been meeting who are currently working with, dealing with cancer, and I've explained this to them, and they've gotten remarkable results in short periods of time, which I'm very excited about. And I've implored them to go onto Google and tell people about what's happening.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. And so that was my thing too. I saw tons of personal testimony come out of this thing, which I'm sure you have seen. And maybe don't let me go too far. If you've got one or two of those stories you want to tell that are like the most standout, I'm fine with it. But
I have some crazy ones, but
yeah, I saw so many personal, and I'm going, hey, tell your story. Come sit with
Please.
me anytime and just
Yeah.
let me talk to you about what you went through, because what you and I experienced sitting across from each other, that's the revolutionary things that
Yeah.
are happening in cannabis. To
Oh,
me,
yeah.
to me, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I love all the stuff, but it is really those individuals who are taking it to the next level, who are using it differently. And now, because you and I have seen so many products, Aaron's been around for, we've seen these things go on. We can point people in proper directions and
Yeah.
say, hey, try maybe this instead. And because they have a guidance, because there's somewhere to be pointed now, the results are awesome. And we're seeing now to me, it seems like at a rate where, like, that's what I'm telling you, it's kind of hard to reach all the time because there's so many people who need it. But once you talk to somebody, they get on this little program, they're off and running, and
Yeah.
they don't need you anymore
I'm glad
because
you brought
they've
that up.
figured out
Well,
their
they do
thing.
still need us a
They
little
need
bit.
the product. Don't
To
get
a
me wrong.
degree.
and
There's more
they
to
need
it, though.
guidance
So
too.
you're massive guidance, because here I want to piggyback off this if you don't mind.
Please.
So recently I've been doing I do my best, because we're not gigantic. We get orders in, and I try to call our clients when I can, and
That's
I'll ask
awesome.
them, and I go, listen, I go, so why are you taking this? And the number one thing, especially with my gummy clients, I'm like, what are you doing over there? Gummies have sugar in it, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them do.
Yep.
Now, there's reasons for why they're more effective because of this. I get all that, but I'm trying to tell people gummies are for recreation, not medication, and we need to have more healthy edibles when we can. And I'm working on, doing that. Nanosolubles allow you to do healthier things, et cetera, et cetera. I also understand that sometimes we're gonna want to indulge. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want a donut?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a chocolate donut with CBD in it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll turn all the cops around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I guess my point
Yeah.
is that I meet people where they're at. So I have sodas, right? So I don't always drink sodas, but a lot of people do. So here's a different way. You might drink alcohol. Now I have an adult soda beverage that's 30 milligrams of THC. Shout out to Fizzy.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that stuff.
that's all.
You know
It
what I
is.
mean?
It is
That's
good.
that's
man.
actually the one. That's the one that I actually can actually drink, because it doesn't taste like some. I've had some stuff. It just does not taste good to me.
Yeah.
I also don't like IPAs.
I
You know
don't
what
like
mean?
seltzers. I think
right.
seltzer is the
Oh my
grossest
God, what
shit
is
in the
wrong with
entire
everybody?
world.
Why did they all go?
But
like,
that
so
is
everyone
bomb.
got so hyper.
Who wants to
seltzer.
drink flat soda?
I never understood that.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
When
But this
Fizzy
is
came
different.
out, their Delta
Blown
9
away.
beverages are amazing. It's perfect for when, especially, I cannot indulge, because I still combust. But I just so you know, for the record, I don't recommend combusting to anybody.
Right.
Like, I don't. So when someone goes, well, how can you smoke, but then you tell other people not to? I'm like, well, because I
Well,
learned.
because
I'm like, but like you said, don't do as I do. Don't do it. I lead you towards better, scenarios.
Bingo.
I mean,
Bingo.
it comes down to the basic education of understand your methods of ingestion, what's
Correct.
best for you, and like, it's just.
And there's some people who understand, like, I've dealt with injuries.
Well,
and
yeah,
many
you don't
things.
want to change either, asshole. So
Right,
like, why are you
right.
giving me? You're just giving me a hard time to give me a hard time.
When it hits my capillaries at 30 seconds and I get immediate relief, you understand why
Right.
Bingo.
I do that. And a lot
Bingo.
of people who frown upon it, let me tell you, I know iron athletes that will
Blood-
smoke before
blood
they go do
restriction.
their stuff.
Blood restriction.
Right.
Yeah. Michael
I understand.
Phelps, who is
Yeah.
arguably
Oh
the
my.
most decorated athlete of forever, is a cannabis consumer. So is fucking Usain Bolt. So
Yeah.
two of the most.
And Snoop Dogg, he says smoke weed every day.
Yes, I
But-
love that.
Yeah, no, the inhalation of the combustion of the plant materials isn't necessarily the greatest thing for long-term lung function.
Right.
Okay, I'm behind you in
So I
that.
switched
I'm
to
smart
vaping.
enough to understand that, but we said a statement earlier, the entourage effect, which doesn't happen in any other product. I don't give a flying fuck how you did it. It doesn't happen in any other product except for the combustion of the plant. All right. Maybe the vaporization of the plant, but you need to turn that sucker up because the plant is a whole product.
I
Yeah.
got something with you on that, though. So we made a topical with all three. And so we met the entourage effect for a topical. It does work that way, too.
And I'm fully respectful of, we can take all the different aspects of the plant, all right? The cannabinoids, the terpenoids, the flavonoids. We can try our best to represent what the plant is. There's 120 fucking naturally occurring cannabinoids on that plant. Arguably as many, 70 or something, terpenoids, arguably as many flavonoids. We can't get all of it, right? There's a point in the dissolving process or the extraction process where we've got to break something. And I'm not saying that it's impossible, and I'm not saying, because I'm probably testing some scientist out there who's like, fuck you, man, I've been doing it.
Alex is going
And
to
I'm
come
like,
on and be
yeah,
like,
they're like, "What?"
actually,
Well, I literally have broke down every different part of this plant, and that's fine if you can do that, right? then give me the Burger King of cannabis. I talk about it all the time. Give me the thing where I can walk in and say, I want 2% THCV, I want 2% of this, and mix it all together. But that's almost impossible.
Yeah,
You
we're
know
not there.
you know the way to do it? That smells fucking awesome. Your brain sent a signal to you. Your body's going, holy shit. I don't know why I want that, but I want to consume some of that. And then, there it is. It's inside me. And I feel good.
Clip it.
Did your body just tell you, okay, shit, I need everything that was in there? Is your smeller smarter than your brain is? Because maybe just the natural things that are going on help us pick what we need, right?
It's important.
And that's why maybe you like the smell of lemony stuff, and I like the smell of gasoline stuff, and he likes the smell of fruity stuff.
And our palates change every 7 years.
100%. So, and it's not that I like the fruity stuff. I think it's good. And I think great grown cannabis is good no matter what it is. The
Yep.
lemony, it doesn't matter. But when I smell that gasoline, that garlic, there's something in my brain that goes, holy fuck, get more of that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because my brain knows the terpenoid content. Maybe
Right.
my brain can just break it down. I don't need a scientist to tell me what's in the plant. I don't
Well, I
need
think
anything.
that's what we talked about, that Find Your Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Because- So, like, I'm just curious, if you guys don't mind me asking, flipping the script on the questions here. For a
Please
minute.
do.
What is your favorite, like, strain that, like, when it comes to that, like, that just does it for you? Like, you taste it, you're like, man, I feel great. What is that like? What is that strain that just does it for you? Do you have one like that's like that?
No.
No,
No.
really.
No, and I think that comes from smoking a lot of just good weed, but like just being not aware of genetics, because like a lot of people like they pay attention to genetics so much. Like I just got like I don't know, blueberry's nice, OG blueberry's nice. I mean I like some of the old strains that I used to know.
Are
Like
you more of
but a
like,
lot of it was just like here's some good weed.
sure?
You know what I mean? I don't
No,
know
with
what
the
it
stuff
is.
that you were rocking with, I mean, are you preferring like of an indica, or you like
Okay,
sativa?
so that's different. Or if we're talking about growing medicinally, then what you really need to understand are what symptoms do you have? What terpenoids tend to make you to alleviate those symptoms, and then grow for terpenoid or CBD count or something like that. So, like honestly, medically, like what I like to smoke and like necessarily what gets grown medically are two different things,
Mhm.
because like that's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to me, I think to gap and bridge what both of you are saying, I individually have never jumped into the strain or the thing very hard. I understand them and I respect some of the more old school things
Yeah.
that alluded to land race, okay?
Right.
Because at least to me in
Correct.
my brain, I understand what the commonalities of different landrace strains were, like a ruderalis. Why were they, how were they grown? And there's a better chance that there's more CBD on this because of its natural breakdown. So to me, I think my favorite strains are I just like good weed, right?
Yeah.
I don't care what it is, but I tend to like more indica dominant according to the old school whatever. They tend to be more maybe THC dominant, okay, over CBD. And it's
For
not
sure.
that I need to use my CBD, but I use cannabis for the heady part, right?
Yeah.
I like it to calm my shit down.
Right, 'cause
Yeah.
we have, how many thoughts we have in a day, and CBD
Yeah.
or THC calms that down.
Slows it
It
down.
allows you
Yeah.
to be in the present.
Yeah.
We are even scientifically and in plenty of documented cases, THC slows you down, even against like cannabis or even against alcohol in like driving shit. People go, okay, well, cannabis isn't as bad because it slows you down. It makes you a little more conscious and aware, right? It's documented. But I think
Less
to me,
likely to get road rage.
Right.
100%, right? But I think I like all terpenoids. I like to
Right.
explore all of them. I think finding the little nuances of the little different things is the neatest part
Yeah.
of this entire
Agreed.
thing. I don't
Agreed.
know to say that there's one to call it a favorite
Yeah.
is very hard. It's like picking between your children, right? Which one of them is your favorite child? And there's some times where the one is definitely like they stand out. They never talk back as much. They clean their room, they do the dishes, and so there's the one that stands out and you go, fuck,
Yeah.
I could lean into you. You help me out more, right? But it's not to say that that spastic little fucker that bouncing off the walls that makes you crazier than shit. And you go, what the fuck? When they explode and actually show you that level of love that they have from within,
Yeah.
and you go, holy fuck. It's different. It's such a different experience. And I think that it's so, there's so many nuances to it. Who grew it? How
Yeah.
good did they grow it?
Actually, that's probably my more favorite part about it is like when the homies gift me some weed
I
and
like who
like
grows it more
yeah, I like
sometimes than what
yeah,
is
for
grown.
sure.
I can appreciate that.
I like, because I think too, from coming from old school, which all of us did, we have
Yeah,
plenty of
legacy.
experience from the past. We didn't know what the fuck it was. And even when we got told a name,
We didn't know. We
were
didn't
they
really
just saying that because it was very cool and whatever? A lot of times, and you might have some very true understanding to
Yeah.
this, because of how
like
it
blueberry
got
smells like blueberry.
criminalized, the only people who were doing the thing tended to be criminals, right?
Right.
Or people who didn't mind getting found out if they were a criminal. So plenty of our parents did it. I don't know if your parents did or not. My parents tried growing some shit back in the day, whatever. My dad did. But he said it just turned out like shit. My uncle tried a couple of times. So I've heard these stories around me, but everybody goes, it's whatever, You
Yeah.
just it is what it is. You just like cannabis. But I think now to see powerful, just full groups, and you can see it in the MSO world so that we have a better scope of things, right? Inside some of those containers, some of those people are growing some decent cannabis. As wild as it is, some of it is okay.
I have I have not had that experience, unfortunately. A lot of my dispensary experience has been conveyor belt cannabis.
Yeah.
And
There's
I've been
there's
very
Don't buy Cresco.
disappointed by what I've been disappointed by what I've seen. I've secret shop people, and don't get me started on the lack of education that goes in these places and the lack of
1,000,000%.
customer service. So I'm very big. I come from the service world, so I appreciate customer service, and I know people just want to be spoken to like human beings. You know what I mean? It just works out like that. And I did want to mention, like, to piggyback off my question to you guys, it is a little different because I've had the luxury of trying so many different things and isolating stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I, again, whether it's smoking, vaping, drinking,
Yeah.
eating, it's all different. And then topicals is a whole other ballgame.
Yep.
So now I'm utilizing the entire plant all day, every day.
Yep.
And so my routine is a little bit different than everybody else's. And I just wanted to kind of go over that with some people because I think some people can maybe learn from my routine. So when I get up in the morning, my cat wakes me up at 4 o'clock, so I'm good to go by 4:20. That's what Cash does every day. At
Nice.
first, I used to hate him for it, but then I just realized he was doing me a favor.
Yeah.
So then I get up in the morning and I'm sativa CBG dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
That's what I want to do in the morning. And if I can find a way to put CBC in my program, which is harder to do than most, but if I can find a way through ingestibles, I try to put that's my morning cognition to get me going. That way I can get going, move, go to the gym, walk my dogs. It gets me going. And
Yep.
I've been keep the phone down for the first couple hours. Why do you get up
Huge.
early, Mark McWell? Because if you only knew.
Yep.
People on the East Coast hit me up early. West Coast hit me up until late at night. So it's like all day long. I get customer service calls and vending calls. It's a blessing, man, to be able to do business with all parts of the United States
Yeah.
and to be recognized as an authority in this situation. I couldn't be more grateful.
Yep.
So, and I work with so many powerful people in the industry, and we're also helping people come up at the same exact time, which remind me to talk about flip mode marijuana. We'll get back to that. So then that's my morning, right? And then as the day goes on, I want to change it a little bit, and I kind of go towards the hybrids. I lean towards hybrids throughout the day, and it just works for me. I need to be calm because I'm pretty hyped up as is.
Yeah.
So my morning hype up needs to happen so I can get my mind going
And,
get the
like, get the
workout
work
going.
done, yeah.
Yep. 420 fitness is real for me this year. I want to try to be the best version of myself that I can be. So look at me now and check me out 3 months in the summer. We'll see how far I come. I'm just like kind of regulating myself to get
Somebody needs to
myself
get on
back
that
better.
Thursday uh, Thursday weight loss, contest.
Yeah, I've run a few of them. I need to do a contest
Okay.
again. It helps me kind of stay, you know what I mean? When I can
Well,
compete with somebody,
There
don't
you
get me
go.
wrong.
sure.
It's hard to keep yourself accountable. It's hard to
I
commit to
totally
yourself
understand.
sometimes.
It can
So I
be.
like that interpersonal competition for me to lose weight sometimes and to be the best representation of myself. I like the outer thing. So
I
You
dig that.
you
Yeah.
guys should do something.
Everyone's motivated by different things, but I appreciate that for sure because
Yep.
competition is good for yourself. Once you start competing with yourself, then it's hard. It's really
Yeah.
hardcore. That's like the big deal, and that's what I've been like. I'm whooping my own ass right now. So like right
Good.
now the competition level
Yeah,
is hardcore because I'm only competing against what I did yesterday,
right.
and
Fuck
so
yeah.
that and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden I'm like, well, dude, I could do better than that. Yesterday was a different version of me than today.
Yep.
And I appreciate the compliments earlier today because I didn't think about that, but it's obviously starting to work.
Yeah.
I haven't
what I
seen
mean?
you in like what, maybe a month or two, and I promise you right now, you look great. You
Thank
look
you.
like you're doing something for yourself. You're, I don't want to say super whatever, but you're glowing, bro. In a way,
Hell
you're
yeah. Thank
literally,
you.
and you tend to have a chipper, cheery, whatever. And I think it probably has something to do if you have a regiment about your cannabis use that isn't, because I watch so many of my friends first thing in the day pick up their fucking torch, do the fattest dab that they can, and right before they're talking about it, they're like, "We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna blah 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 blah," blah," and they don't get shit done.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, man, you're just not using this thing in the best way for yourself. And to have an understanding, which is beautiful for you to say, I'm using CBG in the morning. I'm using something that is more fueling to my brain powers to help me actually get out of the morning fog or whatever it is and to get me going. You call it sativa, and that's perfectly fine because it's a common tongue for everybody, but there's probably, we break it to the next level, there's probably limonene in
Yeah.
there, and there's probably
Well, I go back to the sativa that I'm currently rocking with is Alaskan Thunderfuck,
yeah,
which was my
Yeah.
first strain that I ever smoked.
beautiful.
And you know the difference, guys. Like I'm sure you've smelled it. Like I could smell a sativa and I
Yeah.
could smell an indica, and I know what
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
CBG and CBD
Yeah.
smells like. It's weird. Shout out to Sugar Leaf for they're my endorser of flower, and Goat Genetics for my endorser of
Love
CBD.
goat.
Yeah,
I love
hell
them,
yeah.
and
Love,
so I'm very
Sugar Leaf
thankful for
too.
them because my regiment is different, and they afford me the opportunity to have different cannabinoids throughout the entire day, which is
Yeah.
wild.
And that's, I can't wait to see that progression and you're doing it in front of me. I'll grab another product so we can talk about this
Yeah.
too in what we're still talking about, but to have excess cannabinoids to be not only just using, because I think we get stuck sometimes going, okay, cannabis, it's the almighty, but bring it in with everything else that really does play synergistically with this plant. This thing here has turmeric in it. This thing here has trifala in it. It's a product that has CBN, CBG, CBD. We're using far more than just the cannabinoids, all right? And we're bringing other properties together to really make, and you called it superfoods and products that are capable of real physical health changes
Yep.
and it's taking your health back into your own hand.
That
And
right there is a part of that. So when I mentioned earlier flip mode marijuana, I want to give a quick shout out to Benji from Everything Better Co, who has afforded me the opportunity of doing something unique, and that's getting people out of the black market arena and into the real market arena.
Yeah.
And we together have combined our forces so I can actually help people manufacture products that can go to market. And some people who are already in the market allows them to actually cut their overhead and increase their profits and work integrally with their manufacturer. And so shout out to Farah, my spiritual sister, who is also going to be on the show
Yeah,
soon.
she's gonna be here in 2
Yes.
weeks.
And from Om Remedies, AUM, remedies, and you can find her product on MrCBDChicago.com.
Yep.
As you know, I'm a simple. She'll laugh at me, but the cool part is this is an Ayurvedic product.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that means, please take the time to look it up. You'll understand. That particular one is the Restore.
Mhm.
So right now, a lot of our immunity is being compromised because a lot of people are sick and they don't take care of themselves. So it's really important to boost your immunity, and that's what Restore does. So I gave you guys one of each of everything today, so you
Yeah.
guys can take care of yourselves as well.
Yeah.
Superfood,
Thank you,
you're both
brother.
getting.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
just launched the hemp parts this weekend, guys. It hasn't even gotten onto my site yet.
Are you
That's-
So
serious?
you're the first
That's
people to get
awesome.
bags.
Oh my!
That's fantastic.
So I'm very
Mark, I
honored to
fucking
be
love
able.
you.
And then when you
Yeah.
get a chance, it's cool. But
I can't wait.
read the back of that.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like when you
I-
read it, it really blows your mind. So the hemp parts is how we're going to take care of the nutritional superfood. The decorative hemp is a blessing because it's going to be a part of every show from here on out. And two dope dudes, that's the name of that plant. So decorative hemp is in the mix. The nutritional hemp is in the mix. Now we're talking about therapeutic CBD. Restore. To me, I joke with Farah. I'm like, this is the vitamin water of cannabis. And I say that because it says Restore on it. And so when you get a vitamin water, it usually tells you what it's for, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's not good for you. And we have to talk about that another time. But I like using it as an example when I'm trying to describe. Not everybody knows what Ayurvedic means. And the majority of those ingredients, nor do they know. And they want the simplistic version. And I just tell people, if you're just looking for an immunity booster, this is the vitamin water of
Yeah.
cannabis. And it's way better. That's like literally simplifying it beyond belief.
Yep.
But sometimes that's all people want to know.
No, and it does immunity and gut rejuvenation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and that's what I think. Understanding the
I love the packaging too.
it's so cool.
You can take that
It's
anywhere.
So cool.
And it tastes great too, by the way. When
really.
you get a chance to try it. Like that's what you expect usually like vitamins to not taste great. It
Yeah, let's
tastes
do it.
great.
I
Oh,
Yeah, when I
right.
when I
Ain't
first
gonna
when
be me.
Farah first gave me one of those, I sprayed it in my mouth. I assumed it was
my
going to be
God.
like sublingual,
Mhm.
and she looked at me weird.
It does taste really good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Shout out to Benji and Farah
does.
for really going out of their way to simplify the product
Yeah.
and to give you a package and you could take it anywhere because tinctures are it's not normal for people. The people got tincture crazy, but that wasn't something that people were using.
Oh, I used to make. I used to like, or I was like, in the early 2010s, vaping my cannabis, and
Sure.
I would take the spent stuff and put it in Everclear and make tincture, and
Oh, of
it's- yeah,
course.
for sure.
We had
Love
a
it.
buddy's so like the whole family lived up and down the street. He was a Spanish kid. His grandmother used to have this little like jar of shit that she like left next to like where the fireplace was at, and it was like green and nasty, and all of us were like, "Ooh, what the hell is that?" As we grew older, that was like the tincture.
Yeah.
Grandma was brewing up some shit, and she used it for
Everything.
everything.
Nice.
Bro, I mean fucking everything. She put it on topically. She used it orally. She put it in fucking food sometimes. This lady would literally use that shit for everything. And like, she lived for fucking ever. Her husband was 90 something years old outside cutting the lawn
Yeah.
and like doing lawn decorations and ornaments for Christmas. So I witnessed too, like, these
Sorry.
things, the tinctures and stuff. Oh, you're okay. These tinctures and stuff definitely fucking have it, and people, it's a lost medication form.
Well, and the other thing about it is like when we were talking about the flip mode of marijuana thing, it's
Uh-huh.
people who are in the industry that maybe weren't getting the proper pricing that they deserved for their products or the
Right.
time and energy to get their products made the way they needed to be made. And so Farah was already in the industry. We introduced her to Benji. They sat down. Like what they came up with was brilliant. And then before that, which I don't have it with me now, I regret it because I'm just remembering. I knew I was going to forget something, but I have to shout out House of Banditos.
Oh yeah,
Miguel.
we talk about them all the time. We've had their
They
stuff,
were
yeah.
they were the first on the other side. So
Yeah.
with Farah was already in the CBD business. Well, Miguel comes from Legacy, and when we met auspiciously at the farmers market, I was put in the food area. I never quite understood it, but then instead of like not trying to understand, I'm like, I'm going to embrace this moment. Damn it, I'm going to take over.
You weren't
this
in the
whole
food
corner.
area. You had the big corner.
But I
area.
didn't understand. What
You
was
had
right.
you had the biggest area. That
But
was
my
the
thing
thing.
was that like in the industry, I knew it was in a weird way because I know how it was. No
Yeah.
one knew how to take me because I came from Legacy, which not everybody knew, and then I was doing everything everything, by the book, and not everybody could understand it.
Right.
And so they didn't know my journey. They didn't know anything about me. I come in black and white. I'm not tie dye and everything else. I appreciate the whole culture, but I'm just different. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I came from a different part of the culture that's very not represented. A
Right.
lot of my friends are business people who don't ever come to stuff they're afraid to because they don't want to be pegged
Right.
at their
Yeah.
job or anything else. But there's so many, functional
Well,
cannabis people
weed
who
events are
do so
different from
much.
grow events too.
True. After a while, it was great how we embraced one another. I was sitting over there and introduced myself to Miguel and June, and the next thing I know, I'm like, "Listen, guys, we could do this." And then after a year and a half of being together, now we're going, to market with these
Yeah.
That's
barbecue sauces that are infused from Benji and everything that we've been doing there.
that's fucking
It's gonna bother me.
fantastic.
Yeah. Put that on the floor.
That's what I need to get.
There you
They
go.
know I'm on a show.
I know.
Gosh, read my schedule.
It's
Anyways.
okay.
But no, that part is, it's
Yeah.
it's very like there's a lot of programs that are going out there, and I'm thankful for the voices of cannabis, but there's less of a voice out there for people who are in the black market, they think they can't get into the real market,
Right.
and they can, and it's not you can't use the excuses there's not education and there isn't someone to guide. I'm trying to develop a mentorship program so I could show people how they can come up and they can be a part of this world, and they don't have to and put their products next to the big guys like Herb.
Right.
Shout out to Nick Warrender, man. I love the fact that he's out there doing his thing.
Yeah.
Moon Babies, and those are bigger companies, but we put them right next to the local guys. And so
Yeah.
you can be right next to that. I joke around and talk about it, Chapstick, Blistex, Burt Bees. There's room for everybody.
Yeah, 1000%.
Remember that, man.
There should be.
and there, and
There's room for everybody at the table. It's just
Correct.
everybody should be able to eat, but it's also your choice. Like, you have to be a good person, because thankfully we tend to police our own,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
And my big thing is to try. The whole purpose of Mr. CBD was to be like the Knights of the Round Table of cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to sit at the round table here because we're all part of this, and if we can come together,
Right.
then we could. This is how the evolution begins. Eventually, you are going to look for a one-stop shop for everything, and I
Right.
want to be at the forefront of that and be able to serve as many people as I possibly can, because I came from the service business. I worked at Greek restaurants, and what do you know about a Greek restaurant? They got everything.
They got
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
And they
Biggest
cut-
menus.
There's if you don't know what you want to eat, they're the best place to go.
Yeah.
Because by the time you figure it out, they pretty much have it and you're
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted to be of cannabis. I want someone to walk and look at my menu and go, I can meet people anywhere they're at. If you've never used a plant before, and we're going to start you off, with seniors doing decorative care.
Yeah.
Plant care is going to make people's lives thrive.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then slowly get them into the nutritional end. And then all of a sudden you got pain. Did you know about CBD is nature's Tylenol?
Yeah, literally.
And then
Yeah.
wow, my mind races all the time. Well, did you know that in microdosing fashion that THC can absolutely help with that? And people are like, what?
Right.
So it's a step process with people, and a lot of times, a lot of people who are ignorant will take people to the RSO moment on their first try.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's like taking someone to the bar
Well,
when they're 21 years old and giving them a shot for
Well-
the first time of 151.
It's what you said though. You said why so many of your customers are eating gummies, right? Because we're so used to, we're programmed into these things. I'm fine with eating a gummy bear. I don't want to smoke anything. That sounds horrible, right? So there's these overcoming things that have to happen. But even then, like you said, I don't even necessarily think you should smoke to begin with, because regulating that is tougher than a lot of people lead on to
Correct.
it. But I think that it's gotten better with some of these vapes that exist nowadays and shit. You take a little tiny, and the problem is, do tiny, right? Like, everybody wants to jump off a fucking cliff and go, hey, let's see where the deep end's at. You don't
I love
need
when people
to.
use THC a lot and go, I don't feel anything with CBD. I'm like, do you feel vitamin B, fool?
Well, exactly.
And then
exactly.
here's the other thing. That now, mind you, I say that jokingly because vitamins and the anti-anxiety part of like the CBD is the yin to the yang, which most people don't
100%.
know.
Yep.
So if you get too high, there should be no one going to an emergency room off of THC.
Right.
It was the faster I can get the healthcare industry, just as they give sugar pills for a placebo, they should start giving nano-emulsified CBD at emergency rooms and get these people on their way and stop wasting everyone's money.
Yeah.
But let's get on to that real quick because I actually have that. So that spray right there, El Jefe CBD.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to Christian and Christina, and they are the Spanish division of our company now, and so all of their products actually are in Spanish,
Yep.
and we're trying to educate the Latin community,
Yeah. I think
and
it's
they're helping
fantastic.
me do it. And we actually went macro dose. So it's 500 milligrams, unlike the Mr. CBD version of this, which is only 100 milligrams. So we have a micro dose version of this product as Mr. CBD nano liquids, but now we have a macro dose for those of you who have higher thresholds. It's perfect for you.
And you know, it's getting a with CBD. It depends on what you're using it for, but it's getting a good amount of the stuff. I don't know the price. You don't have to say it now. Go to the website and find out what the price is.
Yeah.
Right?
Use the code
But
Two Dope Dudes for
hey,
10% off.
that's it.
Ship it right to your house.
But 500 milligrams is a healthy bottle full
Yeah.
of it,
Correct.
right? And
It
it
is.
definitely will help people be able to, and I love that it's in a spray.
Yep.
Okay. Sprays are a consistent thing. Though you're not going to go, okay, that's 3 milligrams, right? Who gives a shit? That's one spray, right?
Yep.
And even from bottle to bottle to bottle, you're buying a lot of the same things, the same little components. So you get a consistency that is beautiful to use, where if it takes you 10 sprays, that's fine. If it takes you 20 sprays, that's fine. But if it takes you one, then don't be foolish. Use the thing effectively.
Mhm.
Get the most bang for your buck. And then it allows you to understand that I can use this thing regularly
On
instead
anything.
instead of having to use it once a day because it's kind of expensive and it's kind of I can't afford and whatever. Now I can use the thing, have a full day worth of effect. All right,
I
and
really
just this
dig their
one
logo.
bottle. I love it. I
That
think this
logo
thing
is
is
so
sweet.
cool.
Yeah, but to have a dosable throughout the day. We know that this breaks down because it's in a sublingual method of ingestion
But
or in
here's the interesting part about this, right? So with this stuff, you spray it on food, it turns into
Yeah.
an edible, and as you guys know, and when you ingest it, it's different. When you put this in a beverage, it actually has two different feelings on one product. So
Nice.
it's complete. It's so weird, and I love that about our nanos because obviously I do have a high
Yeah.
threshold, so it had to work for me.
Well, and that 100% plays to the digestion rate, right? Like that's why if you spray it into your mouth in the way that it is just sitting there, you have a
And I
Uh,
only recommend doing that with that when you need like an emergency,
Right.
because that's how potent that stuff is. I recommend
Nice.
spraying your
Okay.
beverage with this or your food with it.
Nice.
And so, but if you have an emergency, then it's okay.
Sublingual direct.
And I had some guy, actually I know who it was. It was Josh from Bonsai Baker who sprayed it on himself at first. And I
Oh,
was like,
nice.
it was one of the funniest things
That's
I've ever seen.
awesome.
I never thought about that. I'm like, I guess you could do that too,
Yeah.
but it's more effective if you put it in your beverage.
Well,
or
that
your
might be
food.
for like keeping off cougars or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So again, we just this is also a brand new product, folks. That's not on the site even yet.
Wow.
So you guys are also the first to have this too.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
Thanks,
So
pal.
Paul.
I'm very excited.
I'm
It will be
pumped
up
to
this
try
week.
some
It'll be
things
coming
out.
up. You'll actually be for those of you who are our site will be hopefully before Cinco de Mayo. We'll have the version you could click on Espanol,
Uh-huh.
and the entire site will be in Spanish now.
Yeah,
moving
this should be out.
Awesome.
This will be out in 2 weeks, so it'll
Oh,
be like
perfect.
right
Perfect.
before
It
Cinco de
should be
Mayo.
ready to rock and roll by then.
Yeah.
And then that, of course, is the same formula but for animals.
Yeah.
Pets.
Yes.
I've
This
I've
is
used that stuff.
brilliant.
That stuff is great. I use that with my dogs before they
This
passed.
Yeah, and that's
is
Smokey
I'm
and
gonna
Cash
use
on the
it.
on the bottle. Those
Let's
are my
go.
animals. So yeah,
That's so
they're both
fire.
rescues. Smokey I rescued from the Humane Society back in '09, and he recently just passed in December.
Yeah.
So he lived a dope life, as we mentioned earlier. And Cash is still with us. He'll be 16
Yeah.
this summer.
Oh,
Shout
I'm
out
so-
Cash
I'm
the
I'm a
cat.
cat fan.
Oh yeah, he's dope.
Such a cat
I mean,
fan.
he's the coolest cat ever. He's
Yeah.
a tuxedo cat with emerald eyes.
Yeah.
He's
Dope.
yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
And he's very friendly, which I don't know. Now some cats are, some cats aren't.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but those
Yeah.
a lot of people who you can actually when you get a chance, do check out the reviews on Google for
Yeah.
Mr. CBDchicago.com.
Please do.
You see a lot of stuff on there about cats
Yeah.
and how people tell me that they're all kinds of ailments from like hip dysplasia to just aggravated animals. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they've seen results, like tremendous results
You want a brilliant product for the 4th of July.
Yeah.
You want a brilliant product for any of the loud
thunderstorm that
things,
happened
the
last night.
thunderstorms,
Yeah.
this thing to just have a little something. And then for it to be the delivery system that it is, where you could just spray it in their water source or on their food or whatever.
Or a
and
treat.
It's a single treat.
And then here's
even.
another thing. Fozzie, one of my dogs, she had weekly seizures. So you could spray
Yeah.
during a seizure moment. You could spray it directly in their mouth.
That is
It's
awesome.
also important. So the quick
Holy cow.
onset of this, by the way, is typically 5 minutes. But when
Wow.
it comes to the sublingual stuff for the dogs, I've seen it work in 30 seconds.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
So
That's so good.
we say 5, but I've seen it happen. And here's the other thing: when you use our liquids, especially if you're a hardcore thresholder, like you have a high threshold,
Uh-huh.
I've seen the liquid just overcome people's
Oh yeah.
faces. They're like, wait a minute, I've seen a different high overcome them.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
that makes any sense.
Yeah, 1,000%. No, I'm such a fan of. Let me look at what's this other one in the middle here.
Dr. THC.
Dr. THC.
So that's our nano emulsified Delta 8, which
Yep.
is not no synthetics. We made sure of that. And that can be utilized on your food or in your beverage as well. It is a micro dose compared to the El Jefe.
right.
The El Jefe version is 500. Mine is 100. Not everybody is looking for the higher threshold. Some people just need a smaller dose. And this
Yeah.
is a perfect for that person.
Perfect.
I have a lot of people who like 10 milligram gummies. That's for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the people who are on the D9 10 milligram gummy program, I give them the sprays and it shows them a better way to ingest healthy.
All right.
And then here we
Shout
go.
out Moonrock Matt. I like that guy.
Moonrock Matt, my boy. He came up with me back in the day. We've known each other for a good minute now.
Retired electrician.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. And
He's doing it for the love.
Yes. And
I
like
I
it.
love
So
his
sweet.
I love his brand. And we came up with a product together to call Bottle Rockets. And it's a D9 50
Okay.
milligram shot. It's gonna be perfect for the summer.
Yeah.
That's gonna be our fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And you
so
can put
cool.
that in, you can take it as is, which tastes great, by the
Yeah.
way. There's it's watermelon warp and
Yep.
galactic grape,
Yep.
and they both taste great. You could put them on ice. You could put it in your current beverage. Either way, some people just shoot them right
Yeah.
then and there. But they taste great. And if you're looking to get that feeling, that onset, that's what I was talking about.
That's
Our
nice.
nano liquids are unbelievable.
Yeah.
We have it in every form. CBD, D8, D9. What's your poison? We got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then here we go with the entourage oil.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have a big bottle of that.
I am pumped.
So
that
this is amazing. So I've been working with shout out to Myra from Healing Sunflower, the Illinois Therapeutic Massage and DuPage Massage Therapy, who use all of our topicals. And I've got to work with some of the best people in the industry locally here when it comes to massage therapy and helping people. And so I came over time that we had topicals that were CBD, we
Yeah.
had topicals that were THC, and a lot of the topicals smell like shit.
Yeah. True.
So-
some of them do smell horrendous.
But some people like the way those things smell. I'm not going to say what those smells are, but I am not a fan. I want to be able to feel good and smell good, and I want to be in aromatherapy.
I
is
use that
important,
stuff weekly.
and it makes a huge difference. So we use the base as hemp seed oil. And
Right.
shout out to Viviana at the
Yeah.
Look Loft. She does body sculpting, and she started using our refined hemp seed oil on people topically.
Yeah.
And at first I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're supposed to ingest that. She goes, no. You could use a topical too. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can? And so I learned something from her. And then I was like, well, I got an idea. We don't have a good CBD THC topical that has
Right.
refined hemp seed oil as the base. To me, that's the whole plant. Now we're using it all. So we isolated everything only to bring it back together.
Yep.
It's brilliant.
And then it's funny at the end of the day. And then we have black oak currant is the smell.
Hmm.
And I got, again, I learned that scent from, having other people who had topicals with it.
Wow.
And we wanted to those were my favorite things. And it smelled good.
smells
It's
incredible.
unisex. Women love it. Men love it.
Yeah.
And I've had 5 couples come back and tell me that they thought it was an aphrodisiac.
You know what? I've heard that from topicals. For some people, they kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, This is a
But let's really
dope
talk for a
little
second.
package.
We have it in gallons too.
Yep.
So for those of you who are our massage therapists, we're the only company in the United States that has a gallon topical,
Yep.
and it's 42,000 milligrams. It's a hero dose.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yes, and that's for if you got pain, this knocks it out. Rheumatoid arthritis. I've seen people who have
Yeah.
dealt with all different types of skin conditions really appreciate what that can do for you.
And
That's
then
fantastic.
shout out Briggs from
Shout out to
Society,
Briggs from
our
Spliff
friends, yeah.
Society, and
My
shout out
guy.
to Kevin from Goat
Yeah,
Genetics,
Goat Genetics.
as that is grape fizzy CBD,
That's right.
USDA certified organic CBD.
That's
Only
right.
one of 2 grows I am aware of that has access to that, and he's one of them.
Get the hell out of here.
And if you've never
That's
tasted
so
CBD,
cool.
that tastes like this, guys.
Oh, you've had
the
you've had the grape fizzy.
Oh, you've had it before?
You had the grape fizzy.
So the grape fizzy with the cocoa wrap
Yeah.
just is a perfect combo.
For
I
sure.
love the way it
Yeah.
tastes.
I am so pumped.
We have so
dude.
many friends,
I
so many
can't-
awesome people in the community.
Yes, that's a big part of my
Yeah.
ring around the rosy today, is making sure that all the people that we support, dope people,
yeah.
is what Mr. CBD is about, which is why I resonate with your
I mean,
tagline.
I think everybody. I've shouted out everybody here on the podcast individually.
I think at least, yeah.
Maybe
at least
Moonrock
once.
Mad I haven't mentioned, but everything
I
else
think
I've
you have
definitely.
actually. There's no
Yeah.
hearing the names, right? Because I'm not as plugged as you guys are. I don't go to the events. I don't see a lot of the things.
Yeah.
I'm a hermit, so I apologize, but
But you're also out
I
there
hear
too.
you
Yeah.
talk about all of these things. I've been in some booths and
Yeah.
I've seen these people, but I don't associate
Right.
the product until it's sitting here in my hand.
Mhm.
And now I'm going, fuck, these people are all
Yeah.
brilliant, man. And
Yeah.
They
for
are.
you to bring everybody together, to have Aaron give me a chance to sit here with you guys and to be part of this, like I think this is the coolest shit that has ever
Yeah.
happened. I'm so pumped to be part of, and thank you for anybody who includes
Yeah.
me into, but to be part of what cannabis looks like in the future, where it's not this tug of war between the black market or the
Yeah.
MSOs or the whatever, but it's a thing where anybody, like Mark's been talking about the whole time, like Aaron and I advocate for all the time, this plant shouldn't be criminalized to fucking begin with, right? And to now have a legal framework that we
Yep.
can work within, where we can make reputable products under decent protections, where we're
Right.
not criminals anymore. It's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I beg all of you to consider at least checking out what Mr. CBD Chicago has to offer. Okay,
Go there.
is
Sign up for his newsletter.
you don't even have access to some shit that I got. So
Yeah.
what? All
Yeah.
right. But I promise you, bud, this is one of the coolest things. I used to put hemp hearts into smoothies. I did for a long time.
Yeah.
I've talked about it, and I've had digestive issues and stomach problems for a long time. But I think it was because I was more willing to eat Doritos than other people
Yeah.
were, and I ate a lot of bullshit cereal and fucking trash, whatever. That was what I was. It was just easy to do, right?
Yeah.
Once I started cooking and once I started to have some of these things, these hemp hearts did a wonderful thing for me. So I'm glad. It's cool to see you doing new shit. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. I am so happy to call you friend. I do absolutely love you just as a human, but I love that you're representing something and making something that I care about in my heart and that I think about and dream about. Thank you for putting it to a physical reality and making it something that everybody now has access to. And it's that old saying, you can lead horses to water, but you can't make them drink it. Listen, there's only so much we can do. I beg you, try these things, because it
Yeah.
is the difference maker in, do whatever you do as far as cannabis consumption goes, right? Add a little fucking CBD into your regimen. Have a fucking source of it where you're eating or where you're ingesting it and it's in your system for 24 hours a day, playing against the natural things going on. And
It's an immunity booster, guys.
that it's
Right now, like we're all dealing with it. Like people are getting sick out there. This is a way to help that out.
100%.
There's a lot of inflammation that's going on from getting sick. this can help alleviate that. This should be the first thing that people like go to. It should be a go-to with like vitamin
Yeah.
C and other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Mark, brother, I love you.
I love you guys,
Thank
man.
you
like
so
for
much
real.
for sitting with
I also
us.
wanted to take a moment real quick before I forget
Sure.
to
No,
thank you
please
so
do.
much for this weekend.
Oh yeah, for sure,
I had
bro.
such a great time at
I'm
the roller
so glad
derby.
you came out.
That
It
was so
fun.
cool. Shout
Yeah.
out to Brittany. Wow, dude.
Yeah,
She's-
right. People don't realize what an athlete she is.
Holy
She's a
moly.
semi-professional athlete.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and she flexed on me, dude. I'm like, it's real. I'm like, she should go ball our asses. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
You know?
dude.
I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame they lost by
On
3
roller
points.
skates. She-
Yeah. Yeah. Shame they lost by 3 points, but it was a good season.
It was a great. It was
They
a
were
great
undefeated all season. Shout out to the Fury, Team Fury.
Game. It was
fuck
so
yeah.
fun to watch that. I'm very thankful
yeah.
for that birthday gift.
No, it's
it
super
was
fun.
one of the coolest experiences. This whole weekend was filled with cool
Yeah.
experiences, but that was definitely one of them for me.
Yeah, dude. Awesome. Well, yeah,
Um,
dude. We loved having you. We'd love to have you again sometime.
I'm
know.
sure that you and I talking, and I could talk to you for fucking ever, but
Uh-huh.
I love what you know. We'll continue this.
Yeah.
If you would in the future at some
Yeah.
point, I would love to sit back down. We'll talk what your new products are, but we'll also talk a deeper understanding of the applicable uses of some of these
Yeah.
things and because we've only scratched the surface.
Right.
Right.
At the same time, we're trying to simplify and normalize. Go to Mr. CBD Chicago.
Yeah.
It's right in front of you. It says it right on the package. Fucking immunity and gut rejuvenation.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Watch in 2 weeks when we have Farah on.
It's gonna be great.
She is
Oh,
My
D-
soul, my soul sister.
she is delightful, and
pumped.
I know my mom's gonna love her. So
I'm pumped also.
Yeah.
I have had great times with Farah so far.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
Well, gentlemen,
Man, that was a
continue
neat-
to trust your dopeness.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the fact how much you guys support dope people, and I'm
Yeah.
glad to be a part of it.
Hey, you're an integral part of what we do, and we support dope people, and we support the people we believe in, and obviously we believe in you, so as much as you believe in us. But yeah, and hey, thanks for watching.
and all these gifts are
Yeah.
they're way too kind, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so
No,
much.
this is.
But
this is love.
I love this more than you know, and I will take the opportunity to give you some serious feedback, and
really
I'll let
appreciate
everybody
that.
Yeah.
understand because I care about
Yeah.
this stuff.
Do me a huge
Please.
favor. Once you've gone through it all and done the ring around the rosy, that would be my favorite to ask of anybody,
Yeah.
especially if you've ever used my products before.
Yeah, give a shout
Because
out.
we're not able to market ourselves traditionally.
Yeah.
If you could go to Google and give us a Google review at
Yeah.
Mr. CBD Chicago,
Yeah.
that's how we're
Doesn't
changing
have to be
the
5-star, but it probably should be.
algorithms.
You're not supposed to ask. I'm just saying.
This far into
I'm
the
just-
show, it has to be. And if you don't do that, no, you
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Try be honest.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the most beautiful thing because for all of us,
Yeah.
including Aaron and I, so we asked you to comment.
Yeah.
We would like to be better at what we do.
Yeah.
I think what we're doing is cool, and we like to do what we do, and that's what you're putting your heart into this.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't hit the mark, how the fuck do I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it, and sometimes I have ugly baby syndrome.
Yeah.
Call me out on it. That's okay. We're trying to make the best thing that we can make. Be
Yeah.
real. Be honest. You can talk to the man himself, right?
Yeah.
There's a contact part on
Yeah,
Mr.
my cell
CBD
phone is
Chicago.
public,
Yeah, he'll
Boom.
call you.
public knowledge,
So
man. Go
talk
get
to
it.
the man himself if you would like to.
Yeah.
Please leave some comments from me and Aaron.
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure. This is literally, brother, thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
will-
Thank you.
Absolutely. I've had a fucking
Hell
great
yeah.
time today. This is my favorite.
We love you all. Smoke weed every day. Peace.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.